everyone. It's another episode, another week of the summer of me. We are easing out of summer, but long live summer. It is the eternal summer over here at the podcast in my world. And we are talking about end of month, beginning of month rituals, routines, habits. I have this jaded perception of myself that like I'm not very type A or like I'm not like a organized, which I'm not in like real life, like how messy is your closet sense. But like what I'm starting to realize as I'm learning about myself as I do this podcast, and what I'm realizing is I am like a list maker, ritualistic, routine type of gal. And I live for routines. I also like live for breaking them. I can be like, fuck the man. Like we're gonna go to Starbucks instead of make our coffee at home today. But I like as I start talking about like my life and just like the things that I have gone through and the things that I do to like kind of stay focused on the path ahead or whatever, I have realized that like I have a lot of these little quirks, so to speak. And so I'm going to share them with you guys because so we did an episode on list making and all the like random lists that I keep in my phone. And a lot of people were like, wow, this was really helpful, or like implemented it into their life. And so maybe you guys can learn something from this, take something from this. So as I was going through the end of the month in July, it's now like closer to the end of August, but so this is actually very timely for you because you can use this at the end of August. I was like, man, there's all these things that I do specifically on the last day of the month. I clear my calendar on the last day of the month. I am like, do not talk to me. Do not bother me. Do not ask me to put your hair up. Do not ask me to make you a lunch. Do not ask me to have sex with you. Do not ask me to do anything. I am busy. I have tasks to do. It is the end of the month. And I got into this mindset, like as a business owner, right? Like you're doing your end of the month finances. You're doing like all the things that you need to get done, checking off all of your like, you know, business things, so to speak. But I started to like add in habit stack, basically add in all of these other things that made me feel like I was setting the tone for a new month. Routines, number one, I think are very important. A routine is basically just like a culmination of all of your habits in like a superset of your habits, so to speak. And I feel like now more than ever, like I've really dialed in like some of my morning routines, some of my like work routines, you know, end of the month routines, all these things. And I think that your habits and your routines are an indication of you and your life. And like if you have no habits and you don't have a time that you wake up and you're just kind of like sloughing through life and figuring out shit as you go, like you can do that for a certain amount of time. But like if you've ever studied highly successful people, they all have habits, they all have rituals, they all have routines, and it's an indicator of success in my opinion. And so while sometimes it isn't comfortable or I don't like setting my alarm clock for 6 a.m. every day, obviously there's days where I have the kids and I do that and I have to get them to school and I don't really have a choice. And then there's days where I do have a choice. I have a couple days a week where I don't have to wake up, but I still set the alarm at the same time. I keep my body's rhythms consistent. I keep my life's rhythms consistent. And it really does make an impact on like how my day goes, how my week goes, how my month goes, how my life goes essentially. And that bleeds into things like finances and like success in relationships and friendships and just overall success in so many different facets of my life. So I'm going to walk you through. So is such a millennial thing, by the way. Did you guys know this? Like if you start your Instagram story with like, okay, or so. It's very millennial and the Gen Zers don't like it. So there we go again. Budget. This is number one for me. You guys know I live and die by Rocket Money. I love Rocket Money so much. This is not an ad. I wish it was. Please sponsor me because I struggled with finances for so long. I'm going to be really straight up honest with you guys. At the end of my divorce, I was in $100,000 of debt, like from lawyer fees, just like overall costs of divorce, overspending, not making enough while I'm going through like a traumatic experience, all of these different factors. And I was like, holy shit, I have to get my life together. So if you are like feeling like I am getting behind my finances, if you're going through a divorce or if you're just going through life and you're going through the rhythms and you're like, I'm overspending, but I don't know how to keep control, like get ahead of it or whatever, take heart and like let this be an encouragement. It's not too late. Like you can get out of debt. It is not fun and it's not pretty, but like I am debt free now. I would like to say praise the sweet Lord in heaven, because I would say like being in significant debt is one of the things that like rocked my world so severely. I was like, I can't even sleep. Like I would like pop up in bed awake at night. Like, how am I going to figure this out? And you just do. Like there's ways to figure it out, and that's like a whole nother topic. But I am psychotic about my budget. I am psychotic about my income, my spending. I am intimate with my bank accounts. I am intimate like with my, like all the different parts of my budget. So I use Rocket Money. There's so many budgeting platforms out there, but every single day as I drink my coffee, this is again like a morning routine. I like get home from dropping the kids off from school. I'm drinking my coffee. I'm opening my Rocket Money. I'm going through like what did I spend yesterday? I categorize my finances. So transfer this to the end of the month. I go through Rocket Money, like keeps balance of all of your spending for the month. And so then you can see like, okay, I spent 15% more in the dining out category than last month, or I spent this much less or whatever. And like, it tells you basically like what you have left at the end of the month that should be able to go like right to your savings account. And so it's just important for me to kind of get a bird's eye view of like, how did I spend my money this month? Where can I be better next month? And like, what did I make this month? I set an income goal every single month. Sometimes it changes. Sometimes it's the same, depending on like what I know is coming down the pipeline. So if I know I have like a lot of partnerships in the month ahead, like I set my budget higher, or if I know that like this month, I know like now the kids are at school full time, like I should be able to make more money. I have more hours in my day to work. I should be able to make more money and like pull different levers. So end of the month, I think it's really important. I think it's a daily habit that is really important, but I think specifically end of the month, it's really important to kind of go through your budget. And then what I do is, so let's say I did this at the end of July. For August, I go back through Rocket Money and you can set up all of your budgets for the following month. And it'll transfer the past month over, but then I can go in and adjust and be like, well, I know I'm taking a trip to Vegas this month, so my travel budget needs to be higher than in July when I didn't go anywhere or whatever. And so it just gives you a really great pulse on like where you are for the month and where you need to be for the following month. Number 2 is credit cards to zero and bank accounts at your base amount. So I keep like a certain like comfort amount in my bank account where it's like, I'm not going to overdraft. And I have absolutely just paid more overdraft fees than I care to admit in my lifetime. And after my divorce, I was like, no more. I'm done with this. Like, I have to like reel it in. Like, get your shit together, woman. Like, we're not paying $34 every time we overspend. Like, that is just like absurd. So I have like a base amount that I keep in my bank accounts. I get my bank accounts back to that. So if they're over that amount, that goes straight into like a high yield savings account. If they're under that amount, I transfer out of my savings account. That means I've overspent, and I transfer out of my savings account and have all my bank accounts be that base level. And then I pay off my credit cards. If you can't pay off your credit cards, you pay the minimum or whatever it might be. But ultimately the goal is that you get to a place where you can pay off your credit card every single month, so that you're not getting interest. This is like, finance 101. And also, you guys, like, that just feels phenomenal. Like, I get off on paying my credit card off. I'm sorry. Like, maybe that's being 35, but I am like, turn me on. Like, I love paying off my credit card because it's like, it's so freeing. You don't owe anybody anything. And then at that point, it's like, okay, whatever I do on the month ahead is like up to me. I'm not like paying for last month's sins or whatever you are paying for, and you get to kind of move forward. The next thing that I work on for the month ahead is I go through my to-do list. You guys know I love my beloved to-do list, my little bullet marks. And I go in and like, I'm pretty like on top of it throughout the month, checking things off because I love the satisfaction of like clicking the little bubble. But I go through and I take anything off that doesn't need to be on there that's like expired or that I've already done or whatever. And then I go in and add. So I know for the month of August, like it's going to be kids' first day of school. So I need to like add on my to-do list, like, making sure that the kids have everything, like getting lunch boxes, whatever. I'll go through and like add that kind of stuff. And then like, if there's any projects, like I want to, make sure that this month we get a wallpaper done in the dining room or something like that, I'll add that to my to-do list. And it just gives me like things to focus on throughout the month. So I just like make sure my to-do list is tucked in bed, which parlays into house projects too. So like wallpaper and stuff like that. Like if budget allows, like I'll make sure that there's a house project on the to-do list, or I know I need to like redo the plants for the front porch for fall or things like that. Those are the things that slip through the cracks. You've probably heard people say like, why did it just take me like 4 months to get a project done that like took me 10 minutes? And it's all about prioritizing, like putting those things on your list and keeping them in the forefront. If you keep them in your brain, the likelihood of them getting lost is much higher than keeping them on a list. And so I write down, and let's not be like aggressive here. Like we are not wallpapering and installing a new bathroom vanity and getting all the new plants done and building a chicken coop all in 1 month. Like, yeah, pipe dreams, but that is just not happening in anybody's world. And so I pretty much limit it to like 1 or 2 things a month max. And like, know like that they're going to be attainable. And do they always get done? Absolutely not. But I know that like, hey, this is something that is on my mind. If I have an extra, if the kids are gone and, I have a free Friday night, like I'm going to spend my Friday night like getting prepared for that versus like just dinking around or whatever. The message here with all of this and with routines and in general and like habits and stuff like that is intentionality. And it is really, really easy to go through life and just be like, oh yeah, I should have done that. Or, oh, I wanted to do this, or I want to start a healthier habit. I want to eat healthier things or whatever. But like the only way to do that is to be intentional about it. So whether that's like setting it out for yourself or making a list for it or having a certain day of the month that you do it or a time of day that you do it and just like kind of starting to build those habits. This is fairly specific for my job, but I'm just giving you guys my like exact list. I go through, if you're a content creator or if you have a business or if you basically do anything on Instagram that you monetize, this has been really helpful for me. I go through ChatGPT basically and I say, hey, make me a list of Tuesday, August 1st, and then Wednesday, and follow this format. And so then it pops out the whole list of all the days of the month with the weekdays attached, which helps my brain a little bit, like kind of understanding like where I'm going to be in the week. And then I put that in a note in my notes app and I go through and I try to plan all my Instagram reels or posts for the month. Again, does this all get done? No, but it's a really, really good kind of base level format for me to follow for the month. It's really easy as a business owner to be like, I don't even know how to like talk about my product this month, or I don't even know, what to post this month. I'm trying to sell this thing or whatever. And it's like, if you go through, if you take that like prior time to actually sit down and think about like, okay, what do I want to share on this day? And like how you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time either. Sometimes you can transfer this from the month before or be like I know, for example, every Thursday I'm sharing about the podcast. So I go through first and I fill out all the Thursdays. Summer of Me episode this, Summer of Me episode this. So I know that on Thursdays that's being talked about. On Sundays, I don't plan anything. And then so fill in the blanks from there. So I know like one day I want to talk about LTK. One day I might want to talk about like share something from our home. One day I might talk about like my greens drink or whatever. And so I think just knowing like, hey, these are the things. If I have an extra hour and I have good lighting in my house, I'm going to go shoot for 3 of those things so that I have them. If you don't have any of that laid out, I promise you are going to be like a lost wandering puppy and just be like, well, what do I share today? Like, I don't know what to talk about. And like I said, you're not married to this list. Things change. Sometimes I won't post something that I have on my list. Sometimes I will post something that's not on the list. But it's just a really helpful tool for me to know that like this is the content that I want to produce for the month. Any habits that like I want to start. So I've recently started drinking like greens every single day. I find that it's easier in the beginning of the month to do something like that, or a Monday. There's like a whole meme out there that's like, don't wait for Monday to make a change, or don't wait for January 1st to make a change. But like our brain is set up that way for a reason. And I really feel like it's easier to implement a habit in the beginning of something. And so if you have been like wanting to try a product, or if you've been, like wanting to start working out or whatever, that is like the beginning of the month is the time to do that, and give yourself a set goal. Like, okay, I'm going to work out for the first 5 days of the month. Those 5 days can turn into 10 days. And then those 10 days can turn into 20 days. And before you know it, you've done a habit for a month. And so the last day of the month, I'm like strategic. And I think like, are there any habits that I know that have been lingering in the back of my mind, or things that I want to start? It can be as simple as like waking up 20 minutes earlier or something like that. I weigh myself. This might be controversial, but I like to weigh myself because I like to know like what my body's doing, where I'm at. I have one of those like little smart scales that you step on, and it like tells you like your body weight and your body fat and like all these things. Some people like won't get near a scale. I like to weigh myself. So that's something that I do at the end of every month, and just see where my body's at. It sounds so weird to say, but I do. Wins and losses. You guys know I'm very passionate about journaling and talking about like, what have you accomplished for the month, and what have you not accomplished? Where did you set foot like last month and say like, okay, I wanted to hit this goal in my business. I wanted to bring this amount of money in, or I really wanted to go on a date, or I wanted to like file this paperwork, or whatever it might be in your life. Making note of those things. So having like, just if it's your daily journal that you write in, or just like even a notes app on your phone, like what are my wins and losses for July 2024? we talked about this in last week's episode too, but I think it's so powerful to go back to last July 2023 rather, and to be like, what was I going through at that time? What have I overcome? And like, it's just so freaking encouraging, and also inspiring to be, and it's also can be sometimes like a swift kick in the ass. Like, holy shit, I was trying to wallpaper my dining room still a year ago and I still haven't got that done. Like, that's a loss. Like, sis, get your shit together, or like kiss the wallpaper in the dining room goodbye. This is for all the moms out there. I do the mini series of chat books. Another not paid, but also love chat books. I do the mini series. So basically what it does is you can go through and upload, it singles out like all of the images in your phone from that specific month. So on the last day of the month, I'll go through and build out the July chat book, and it'll say like, okay, here's all your photos from July, and you can pick 30 photos. I think it's 30 photos from the month. And then and then you just like submit it, and it's automatically like gets shipped to your house. It's just a great way to keep like memories, and my kids love looking through them. I love looking through them. I have like an ungodly amount of pictures in my camera roll that just never get seen. And I think that chat books is like, they just like make it very simple. And if you just add this into your routine or your, habits on the last day of the month, it becomes sort of just something that is a constant, and you will have like so many great memories printed in your living room, on your coffee table, wherever they might live. And you will be so grateful when you're 50 to your 35-year-old self that you've done that. I can promise you that. Well, I can't promise you because I'm not 50, but I think I can promise you. Update any subscriptions or recurring orders. I can't tell you how many times I've had the same Thrive box shipped to my house with red wine vinegar and tomato paste, and we don't need that stuff anymore. So make sure that you're updating your subscriptions, whether it's like, your Amazon auto ship things, any of them. Just update them on the last day of the month, and you will thank me later. It is truly like, we forget to do these things all the time. And so I've just like started putting it on my end of the month list. A couple more. This is something that I had not started doing until recently, and it's made a really big difference. I look at the calendar for the month ahead and I'm like, okay, August is not a good example, but let's just say it's October. Okay, it's October coming up. Halloween is this month, and one of my kids has a birthday. So on the last day of the month, I either like make a list or like put it on my to-do list, or I sit right there and order it right then and there. Whatever holidays are coming up or like events or anything like that, like bring them to the forefront of your mind, because I cannot tell you how many times it's been like, oh shit, it's 4th of July in 3 days and my kids have nothing to wear for like the 4th of July party. Or I just think birthday parties, for example, like our kids get birthday party invitations. If I just add that to my end of the month to-do list and just order the birthday presents right then and there, it makes just the day-to-day like chaotic lifestyle so much easier when you're ahead of those things and you've prepared for them. There was years where I was like, all my like favorite Christmas decorations sold out. They would not have sold out if I would have spent, if I knew that like at October 31st, like I was ordering all of my Christmas decorations for the next 2 months ahead. So just keeping in mind that you can even do this like 2 months ahead of time, because I think sometimes like, obviously we live in America where holidays all happen to blend together. So it's easier to just put that on your calendar, look 2 months ahead, order all the holiday birthday stuff that you need, whether it's for your kids, your spouse, and just knock it off the list. And then last but not least, and I think this is the most important, is setting a goal. I find that like when I set a goal at the end of, like at the beginning of a month, essentially for like the month ahead, it just like really sets the tone for how I proceed, what I'm working towards. For me, most of my goals have to do with business. But like if I know that like this is the amount of money that I want to bring in on a business this month, everything that I do like in my day-to-day is pointed towards that goal. And I set a goal and then I set a reward. So this month, my reward, if I hit my goal, is a Gucci duffel bag that I really want. I set a reward that like is unattainable. Like I'm not going to go buy that on a Tuesday at the mall. The old me would have gone and bought that on Tuesday at the mall. But me now, like I know like I have to earn this, and it's a competition between me and myself. Like that is it, between nobody else. And if I don't earn it, that's okay. Like I can parlay this month or this goal into the next month. But if I do earn it, like I get this incredible reward at the end, that it's something that I really want, I've had in my mind or whatever. And so I think just setting a goal, if it's not business for you, maybe it's moving your body every single day. Maybe it's losing a certain amount of weight. Maybe it's like setting a goal to be on your phone less. And so you set like a screen time limit or something like that. I think it doesn't matter. Like I know people are like, oh, I don't have a business, or I don't know what kind of goal to set or whatever. It doesn't have to be anything like absolutely tangible. It has to be something that matters to you and that's important to you and that you're able to focus on. If you don't set a goal, you are going to get to the next month and then the next month and then the next month. And before you know it, years of your life have passed by and you have not accomplished the things you've wanted to accomplish. You haven't become the person that you want to be. And I think I saw something the other day that I thought was so powerful. It said, oftentimes we only get sad on birthdays when we feel like we're behind. One of my friends had turned 37 and she was like, I'm so happy. Like, I feel so great about like where I am in my life. And she's like, I used to get sad when I would like grow up, basically like every birthday, because I felt like I was aging and I wasn't accomplishing the things and I felt behind. And like, that is my biggest fear, is like, I want to be intentional and goal oriented and just like strategic about like the way that I live my life. And I think that there's so many other things that fall into place so beautifully when you live that way. So these are my end of the month routines. Hopefully you can implement one or two of them and just kind of kickstart your month in a much better place. September is the month ahead. So I expect to be tagged in all of y'all's lists at the end of the month, and let me know how everything goes. And thanks for listening to another episode of The Summer of Me. Thanks for listening to The Summer of Me. You can listen to episodes on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you listen to podcasts, or you can watch on YouTube. Come hang out and follow my chaos on Instagram at Kendra for now. See you next time.